Starting your day off with a take on Vegas you won't get anywhere else.
Hi, I'm Holly Madison, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hi, this is William Shatner, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and I listen to Brian Shapiro. Why? Because I'm a good American. So is he. And if you don't listen to him, you need to pack up and leave this country.
This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Come on, guys!
What's up, everybody? It is the Vegas Take on a Wednesday. Yeah, that's right. A little cold and chilly outside. We're just warm and cozy in the studio. And there are plenty of other people that are on the hot seat, so to speak. We'll get to Marvin Menzies in hour number 2. We'll talk a little bit about that. A little more UNLV hoops. We will get to that with Jamison Welsh from Drive Time Sports will be joining us in hour number 2. And I will lay it out. What is the biggest factor in the possible hiring of Rick Pitino? Well, it's a simple answer, and I'll give that to you in hour number 2. A little more information I will be able to share with all of you listeners, who I love so very much, joining us in studio. Very surprisingly, he joins us every Monday. It's almost like he's my co-host now because J.D. Sharp's out. It is radio personality Chris William Wynn.
Hump day! What's going on, Brian? It's good to be with you again.
Good for you to be here. I'm
Yes,
sporting your Vegas Golden Knights hat, and glad you're in studio with me, my man, because we got a lot to go over, I should say. The Robert Mueller investigation, it appears as though it's coming to an end, perhaps as early as next week. We'll get to that. Oh, yeah, more Michael Cohen news. He will be testifying in front of the House Oversight Committee, and we have a date for you. They have set a date. I don't think this time it's going to be postponed. We're going to get to that as well. But breaking news, in the last few hours, we have learned that Empire actor, or it could be former Empire actor pretty soon, Jussie Smollett has been officially charged with making a false police report. If you recall, this is the guy in Chicago, the actor, who claimed that 2 men screaming the N-word and Trump stuff physically assaulted him, and then everybody, a lot of people, not just people on the left, but a lot of people were coming to his rescue verbally saying how horrible this was and blah, 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 blah. And we've been talking about this the last couple days. It appeared as though he hired these 2 men, one of them who was actually on Empire, by the way, we believe. They have spilled the beans on this guy, and he is in a lot of trouble. He could face up to 3 years behind bars or possible probation. But let me tell you something, Chris. I hope this guy goes to jail for a little while. I'm not saying he deserves 3 years, not even saying he deserves a year. I'd be happy with a Floyd Mayweather sentencing of like 30 days. Put him in jail for a month and set an example on him that you are not only doing a disservice to police and investigators and just everyday people, but you're doing a disservice to African Americans and minorities out there who actually are assaulted, and the horrible things do happen to people like that. You're doing a disservice to them because now in some cases maybe people won't believe somebody, and I hope that doesn't happen, but I really think this guy needs to go to jail for a little while. It appears as though he is clearly guilty. I mean, I know you're innocent until proven guilty. I get all that. Come on, let's just be honest here. This guy hired these 2 guys to do this. He's a complete moron. And I'm not about to blame the left. I know a lot of people on the right are saying, "Oh, everybody on the left, they just want to, defend this guy Smollett." First of all, when somebody says they're a victim of a crime, whether it's a hate crime or any type of crime, you tend to be a human being and believe them. So I am not going to go out of my way and attack the left or anybody for that money that defended this guy. Number one. And number 2, this is not an issue about the left or the right. Maybe this guy's an idiot, and perhaps he's a Trump hater. I don't know. But the MAGA hat thing and all that other stuff, nothing to do with it. This guy's just a moron. He's a moron, simply put. He was trying to probably help his career, which my understanding wasn't going great. He wanted to get his name out there more. He decided to do something very stupid. He, in my opinion, clearly committed a felony. He's probably in a lot of trouble. I don't think we'll hear anything from this guy in a long time. And by the way, he's not even guilty yet, and they've already taken the scenes out, the scenes that he's in this Empire show. So this is not looking good for Jussie Smollett. We will take some calls on this, Chris. I want to get your opinion on this. I know I've gone on a little bit of a rant here. We'll open up the phone lines to 257-5396, 702-257-5396. What do you think should happen to this guy, Jussie Smollett? Does he deserve jail time? Do you agree with me? Or maybe just give him some probation and let him continue on with his career. 257-5396. Chris, what do you say to this? Do you think he deserves some jail time? Do you agree with my opening monologue?
All right, when it's all said and done, if it's proven that this is a complete hoax, then absolutely, I think he deserves jail time because this is completely and just out of line across the board. You talked about the resources that were used in this case, as far as the police department and others. I believe the FBI was brought in as well too to actually investigate the entire thing. So, it was if it's a terrible. Jussie Smollett is just a disgusting human being if this is the case, because all you're doing is just trying to bring attention onto yourself. That's all this was about. If it is proven out that this is how it shakes out. So absolutely, I'm on board with him getting jail time. And look, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not, I don't have any idea what the court situation is in Illinois and in Chicago. So we don't know what the punishment would be. But hey, take him behind the woodshed, I say, if it's proven out that this is a hoax. Apparently,
his Smollett's attorneys met with prosecutors and police, but it's still unknown what exactly they discussed or whether Smollett attended this specific meeting, but the attorneys didn't reply to requests from comments. I'll tell you what I don't like, and I'm going to emphasize this. Here's what I don't like. I don't like it when people on the right want to attack people on the left for defending this guy when this story first came out. Let me be clear here. When somebody comes out and they say that they were assaulted, I don't care whether it was a hate crime, whatever it is, you tend to side with the victim because you don't assume that somebody will come out with a story like this and make it up. That's just a normal human thing. And I know people on the right are saying, well, these Democrats, they didn't wait until all the evidence was put forth. Look, it's very simple. When a victim comes out and says they were assaulted, how many people out there assume that it's a made-up story? You say to yourself, Chris, why? Why would you make something like this? Well, in many of these instances, these people who are assaulted, they're not celebrities. This guy, Smollett, is a celebrity. And I guess you could say, in some sick way, that's why he made up the story. In a sick way, probably, to get his name out there, to help further his career. And I'm not about to talk about, the MAGA hat stuff, because to me that's academic to this. Phone lines are going off the hook, so why don't we take a couple calls on this one at 257-5396. Again, that number to call, 702-257-5396. And let's kick off this segment with Jim. Jim, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Hey, Brian. Good to talk to you again, my friend.
Yeah, good to hear from you. What's up?
All right, so here's the thing, okay? In addition to the local charges in Chicago, he's also facing terrorism and mail fraud charges because of the letter. Because the letter contained what was purported to be either ricin or anthrax. Right. And it turned out it was sweet and low.
Which is very serious. It's a very serious
charge.
charge.
It was an aspirin, wasn't it? I think it was chopped up aspirin.
I think it was chopped up, yeah. I think Chris,
or some other household substance.
Yes.
Yeah.
The fact that it was purported to be a hazardous chemical is what elevates it to the level of terrorism.
I don't have.
He deserves it, then, right? Hey, throw the book at him, then.
Jim, I don't have a problem with that. Yeah.
I actually was calling about something completely different.
Well,
I wanted to get your take on this Covington Catholic kid suing the Washington Post for $250 million.
Oh, do I have a big opinion on that? And I'm so glad you brought that up, because I was planning on bringing that up in the second segment, Jim, but because you're such a loyal listener, we can
talk about this. Yes.
First of all, $250 million is an absolute. It's a money grab. It's an absolute effing joke. Okay.
Yes.
First of all,
nothing happened.
Okay. What are the damages to this kid? Everyone has. Even people on the left have come to his defense here. It's not like he can't go to college now. If anything, it helped him. Okay, maybe for a few days it was upsetting to him and his family. How can you sue somebody for $250 million? First of all, he's got that stupid smirk on his face standing there. Did he break a law? No, he didn't break a law, but he could have gotten out of there. But regardless of that, how can you sue somebody for $250 million for pounding a drum? I know he's suing the publication. I get that. Yes. Okay, I know he's suing that publication. But what are the damages? Defamation? I mean, what? $250 million?
Yeah, that's exactly what he's claiming is defamation.
$250 million for a kid that's 16 or 17 years.
The exact same amount that Jeff Bezos paid for the paper back in 2013.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something. If this kid gets any money, I am going to be sick to my stomach.
I'll tell you right now, he's going to get a settlement. I think it settles out of court. I don't think there's any way that this is going to go to the courts. I think this is, but they're going to end up paying. Washington Post is going to end up paying because look, they came out of the gate quick, right? That's the facts here. The Washington Post came out of the gate quick here and took a negative tone towards the kid and towards the group of kids that had on MAGA hats. But my whole take on this is that nothing happened at all. Nothing happened. There was no physical altercation. There was very little, if any, verbal altercation. So I don't really understand
there was all kinds of doxing on him and his family, and people publishing his information online, and people saying, "I hope the school burns down with them locked inside."
Unfortunately,
but that would have happened anyway because it was video, right? The Washington Post didn't the video went viral. It was went all over the globe. Yeah. So it was all over the internet. So I don't know how you can just narrow it down just to the Washington Post as far as just charging that and making them pay $250 million. When you could say, look, there's video publication, there's video. Companies all over the world that posted out this video.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of ignorant people out there that did say those things, but it wasn't the Washington Post that said, let's kill his family. They didn't say that. Unfortunately, that's freedom of speech, and you're allowed to say things like that. It's sad, but there are idiots out there. As far as what the Washington Post said, nothing they said in their articles would warrant a $250 million settlement. In fact, I hope the kid gets nothing because I don't think he deserves it. Regardless of maybe some members of the media going out of their way to jump the gun a little bit, in my opinion, I don't think the court system, and Donald Trump has done this in the past too, I don't think the court system should be used to play games. And I think this is playing games, Jim.
You know what? On some level, yeah, and on another, it's like, those in the media that report irresponsibly need to be held to account.
I agree. Jim, I agree with you. And yeah.
In a civil society, this is how you hold a newspaper to account.
Kind of like the people in this town that said Rick Pitino was going to be getting a $2.5 million 5-year deal. Yeah.
I'm telling you, you need to have the AD call your buddy Larry Eustacy.
Trust me, Jim, there's certain things I can't say on the radio, but I'm working on it, my friend. I'm working on it, okay? Jim, thanks for calling in, buddy.
Thanks, Jim.
Always good to hear from you, my
man.
man.
Good one.
Jim's one of my favorite callers. He always is. I love Jim. 257-5396. Another one of my favorite callers on the line. Kelly, thanks for calling in. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good, Kelly. What's on your mind?
Nothing. I'm in a great mood now that Jussie Smollett was going to be trying on a new orange jumpsuit soon.
Well, that's not – I'm going to – based on what Jim said, and he makes a very good point, there is a terrorism aspect to this. And by the way, I got to give my co-host, who's not here today, JD, credit. He did mention that yesterday. I kind of bashed him for it, but he's right. He was right.
What did he mention?
I
was
wrong.
Say?
He said there is a terrorism aspect to this. JD was right, Kelly. I don't know if you. So I'm going to give him credit for this. I don't know if he's listening. My co-host isn't even probably listening to my show. But anyway, Kelly, I'm going to say he does get some jail time. I don't know how much it's going to be, but I do think he goes to jail, Kelly.
Yeah, I'm hoping at least in the Chicago case, just based off of the resources that were used on this hoax.
Yeah.
Right.
They could have, it's a very violent city.
He could have just walked out.
Doing a lot more important work than wasting their time.
If Smollett really wanted to be assaulted, all he had to do was walk to some certain areas of Chicago. I'm sure that wouldn't be a problem, right? He wouldn't even have to hire anybody.
But I would like, I'm fine with what you said, as far as the, all these politicians like Kamala Harris and everyone coming to his defense, immediately fine. But I think what they should do, at least, because a lot of them, like Ellen Page, the actress Ellen Page, and Cory Booker and Kamala Harris, they all were like, oh, this is because of Trump's rhetoric. I think they should at least apologize.
Stupid.
Well, now you can't. We can't say that now, right? I mean, people on the left and the progressives or whatever, they can't use that when it comes to this case. This case has nothing to do with it. This is about an idiot that went out and committed a hoax.
Right. But Chris, the point that Kelly's trying to make is they shouldn't have said that even before, and I agree with Kelly. That should never have been said. Even if it was true, to say that Trump's responsible for something like this is just stupid. You can't.
Well, no, but wasn't some of the details that
they were wearing MAGA hats?
Didn't he say they were wearing MAGA hats? So
this is MAGA
that's
country.
why there was the connection. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Right.
Now, obviously, it's all not true, so it goes out the window.
But even if that was
true,
right.
That's why it's even been talked about politically, right?
I understand.
That's why we're talking about people on the left and the right, discussing this and having a different view of it, is because it was politics was brought into it.
I guess Kelly, and I hear what you're saying, Chris, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is even if it was true, even if they did scream out Trump stuff and they were saying MAGA hats, whatever else they said, I still wouldn't have blamed Trump for this. It would have been the people that actually committed the crime. All right, Kelly, thanks so much again for calling in, man. Always appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, good to hear from you. Let's go to Robert. Robert, you're next on the Vegas Take. How are you, Robert?
Hey there.
What's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I agree with the last caller. I mean, this guy needs to get the max. Making these false claims, pretty much trying to start a race war, if you ask me.
Well, I think
it was a homo. He's homosexual, right?
Yeah.
So it was more about that.
To be honest with you, Robert, I don't even think he was trying to start a race war. I think what he was trying to do was just further his career and get his name on the television sets and get sympathy from people. I think he was trying to help his career more than anything. Unfortunately, he did get a lot of PR, but a really bad PR. I'm not sure this guy will ever work again, Robert.
Yeah. Well, let's hope not.
No, here's my opinion on this. He's going to probably get some jail time. Yes. He is a complete moron, and he's wasted our taxpayers' money. No doubt about that. I'm not going to sit here and say he doesn't deserve to ever have a career again. I'm just saying it's probably going to be at least 5 or 6 years before he gets a gig anywhere, and maybe he can turn his life around and maybe be very apologetic and admit. I think it's how he acts after this that will be more telling.
He might get some softcore flicks over on Showtime or the back end of Cinemax or something like that.
Softcore?
After this.
What do you mean softcore?
You know what I'm talking about?
Softcore.
It's
Robert, I don't know what Chris is talking about.
What's funny is that Brian Shapiro's acting like he's never seen any of this stuff before, which is great.
Hey, Robert, thanks for the call, buddy. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. 257-5396-702. 257-5396. I mean, maybe he will be in some softcore stuff that you might watch, Chris. I don't know. Let's go to Jay. Jay, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. Thank you guys for taking me. I'm actually a new caller. I've been listening to you guys for the last couple of weeks. I really like the show.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that.
Not a problem. I had a question for you guys. You guys have some really good insight. I wanted to see, this is about the Jussie Smollett guy, how you think in any way that there's any kind of benefit his story can do for just the social tension in the U.S. because on three fronts I feel like he kind of placed a mark on, because he blamed it on whites that were the attackers. He hired blacks, and he's a gay man himself.
Right.
So on all three counts, I feel like he offended multiple people.
Absolutely.
And though I don't think it was his intention, I think through what he did in his actions, on social media, it's going to start a lot of racial tension. So I wanted to see how you guys think that
that's
U.S. can benefit from this story.
It's a good question. Let me just start out by saying the obvious here, Jay, and I'm sure you will agree. There is racial tension on this country, whether this idiot Smollett made something up or not. There's a lot of racial tension in this country, and there's a lot of reasons for it. Unfortunately, there's a lot of racists in this country. Unfortunately, we had that march in Charlottesville, right, with these Nazis. It clearly is out there, and what I get agitated with is people that say, "Oh, how could you have believed this guy? I mean, I knew from the start he was lying." That's just ridiculous. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if something like this happened, and I bet you things like this do happen probably on a regular basis. We just don't hear about it because they're not celebrities. This guy happens to be a celebrity, and now he's even a bigger celebrity for the wrong reasons. But the bottom line is, to answer your question, there's racial tension everywhere in the world, unfortunately. This is not going to help, Jay. This is going to make the situation even worse, and now this is going to give more people, especially the extremists on the right, a reason to say, wow, there's nothing out there. There's no lynching going on. This is all made up stuff. Trump isn't hurting, anybody. It just gives them more fuel to the fire to say that, because this guy's a moron and he made this stuff up, that there's just no racial tension out there in the world, and I don't like that. I don't like that adding more fuel to the fire that there isn't an issue when we all know that there is.
Right. Thank you. I'm wholeheartedly believe in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my first time, so I just want to thank you guys. I'll probably be trying to get some more calls in later.
Appreciate it, Jay. Call anytime. Appreciate that. 257-5396 is the number to call. Again, 702-257-5396. We are talking about Jussie Smollett. And I was referring to the lynching comment that was made by a Democrat on the left who was running for president. And I am not going to blame her. If you watch Fox News, Chris, 24/7, When they talk about this case, the first tweet they mention is her tweet calling this a lynch mob, right? I believe that's what she called it. I'm paraphrasing. I don't blame anybody for assuming that this guy was telling the truth right off the bat. But now's the time to backtrack a little and say, all right, and even Al Sharpton. I'll give Al Sharpton credit. And I am not an Al Sharpton fan. I think he is an absolute race baiter, opposite, race baiter. But even he said, look, if this guy did this and he made this up, he needs to be prosecuted. So I give Al Sharpton at least a little bit of credit for saying something like that. Again, the number to call, 257-5396, Chris. Do you agree with what I just said?
Yeah, absolutely. But Fox News is going to take the approach of the victim approach, right? Because there has been that element that came out regarding Donald Trump and the MAGA hats and that. So it was kind of perceived right from the beginning that, it is all the rhetoric that's going on. It is the divisiveness in our country that's going on right now that contributed to something like this if it would have happened for real, right? So that's why Fox is taking that kind of approach where they're saying, we have to defend ourselves almost.
All right, let's take a few more calls. The phone calls keep coming in, and we always appreciate that. James is next. James, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. How about yourself tonight?
Doing good. James, what's on your mind?
Oh, not so much, man. Good to hear from you again. I just wanted to, weigh in on this whole case. I know a lot of this has been said, man, but the guy's an absolute idiot.
Mm-hmm.
That he, like you said, and everybody else, he's causing more harm than good, and not just to himself, to everybody else. Like other people said on social media, with the race war and everything else, and then all the manpower and time wasted consumed with this case that, is more than likely false.
Yeah.
And as far as, the terrorism and, the federal crimes that he committed, along so-called anthrax or whatever went through the mail, I believe, I may be a little cold-hearted, but I believe eye for eye, and he should get the fullest extent of the punishment that's available.
Well, James, really good call. Good to hear from you. And let me agree with you. If this guy got 3 years, Chris, I wouldn't feel sorry for him at all. Let's take a few more calls. Let's go to Dave. Dave, I believe, is our next caller. Thanks for calling into the Vegas Take, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, I love your show.
Thanks, Dave.
I got to take you to task on something you just said, though. Do you really believe that two guys walking around with Make America Great Again hats in Chicago at 2 a.m. wouldn't be noticed by everybody?
Okay, I'll answer.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I'll answer your question first by saying when I first heard this story, I didn't go into the details of it. I didn't read all the details of the story. But you know what else I didn't do, Dave? I didn't talk about it on the radio. I didn't talk about it on the radio until I got more details and heard more, and then last week was the first time I talked about it, and I think that was when people started to think, maybe there's something not right about this story, but I didn't start talking about it until I heard more.
And a quick note on that.
No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just saying that straight up it just kind of stunk. But here's why I would disagree with what you said. I really don't think this stuff is going on in the United States, and the reason why is because if it happened anywhere, in any way, in any little way, if they have any little piece of video, they're putting it all over the media.
I agree.
And so
I agree.
I really don't think that this kind of thing is happening, that's not being reported.
Dave, unfortunately, I got to go up to a break, and you make some really good points. I agree with you. And let's keep in mind, he says that this happened in an elevator. Last I checked, most elevators have cameras. Dave, you're absolutely right. And like I said, I didn't talk about this story until I learned a little bit more information. Appreciate the call, Dave. We got a few more callers on the line. John, we'll get to you when we come back. The phone line's 257-5396. Again, 257-5396. We will take a quick break. We will continue this discussion right after this. All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Appreciate the phone calls. By the way, if you are a new caller, even if you are a regular caller, the best thing you can do for this show is tell your friends about it. Check us out on Twitter, at the Vegas Take. Tell your friends, man. I promise you won't find another show in this town that is more interactive. We love our callers. We love our loyal listeners, and we mix it up. Find another show where one segment you will be talking about, the Robert Mueller case and Donald Trump, and then the next segment we'll be talking about Rick Pitino and UNLV basketball. Yes, please find me another show in Vegas that does that. So we appreciate all the phone calls, and that is the best thing you can do for us. We appreciate that. In-studio guest Chris Wynn, a radio personality who usually joins us every Monday, but a little added day today on Wednesday, Chris, so appreciate it that you are here joining us. We are talking a little bit about the breaking news that took place a very short time ago, of course, that Empire actor. I feel very confident in calling him former Empire actor. I don't think he's going to be on any new Empire episodes. I'm just going to go out on a limb on that one. He has officially been charged today with making a false police report. And my co-host, normally J.D. Sharp, who's not here today, made a very good point yesterday. And I was wrong. I'll be the first one to admit it. I thought he was crazy when he said this is an act of terrorism. Well, you know what? When you sprinkle some Advil or Tylenol, I should say, on your head and you say it's a chemical substance and you make up a lie about it, yes, that's exactly what that is. And he could be spending some time behind bars, Chris.
And you brought it up, of course, and it's been across the board here on news reports in regards to his status with the show there at Empire. And it's kind of wild because the show actually, and the producers came out today and did say before the news came out that this could possibly be a hoax, right? That it was 95 or close to 100% being a hoax. They came out and saying that he was absolutely safe as far as keeping his job on the show, so that they weren't going to write him off. So
yeah, we'll see about that.
But that's all changing now, of course, given the breaking news that's taking place.
Well, this is what happened when you decide to do something like this. It comes back to bite you. It shows you his stupidity too. How did he think he could get away with something like this? With all the, did he think that does he not know that there are surveillance cameras outside of his place? Is he that stupid? And then he waits 45 minutes after the alleged attack to call police. It's just insane. The number to call 257-5396. Again, if you are in faraway lands, we do have gotten some calls from San Francisco and Reno. So that area code is 702-257-5396 if you would like to be a part of the program. I want to switch topics here in Swift a little bit to another story that made big headlines today. But before I get to that, let me just remind our listeners that coming up in hour number 2, Jamison Welsh from Drive Time Sports will be joining us. We're going to be talking about some UNLV basketball. The Rick Pitino rumors continue to swirl. I do have a little bit of information on that, some updated information that I want to give our listeners. And, of course, we're going to talk about some other stuff involving the NBA and LeBron James and the Lakers. Will they make the playoffs or not? We'll get to all that coming up in hour number 2. But the Justice Department today apparently preparing for Robert Mueller's report as early as next week. This could be a bombshell. And the important thing to note here is that will Barr release all this information? Will he be completely transparent like he said he was? Well, if you talk to some Democrats, they're a little worried about that. I don't know exactly what is going to take place here, but I'm going to tell you one thing. I think everybody, the left and the right, will be glad once this report is done with.
That's a given. That's an absolute certainty, right? Because everybody wants us to be put behind us and the facts to come out, and so that directives and steps can be taken if they need to be either way, right? Mm-hmm. So there's no question that's the mentality I think everybody has, Brian.
I find it very interesting that a lot of people, first the right, complained about this investigation. Of course, Trump, calls it a witch hunt every day. But I find it very interesting that people on the right are talking about how much money this will cost the taxpayers. I've heard a lot of Republicans bring that up. It's interesting because this investigation is actually making money. They're making about $20 million, a lot of that from Paul Manafort and his doings and his financial illegal activity. They've actually made money in this investigation, and many of those people on the right that are complaining about that make ludicrous statements like that, there were 8 investigations into Benghazi. Now, that was a horrible situation where 4 innocent people lost their lives. I wish that never happened. But with that being said, no charges, 8 investigations led by the right. Yeah, that was money forked up by taxpayers like you and me. Hopefully you pay your taxes, Chris. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I'm making that assumption, right? I hate to make an assumption and then people, call me out like they do the left with this Smollett stuff. But I do find that fascinating, right? People,
here's the deal, Brian. You can go back to 1990, and there's been numerous investigations that have taken place, and all of them have been way more extensively longer than this probe is going to be. If it ends up being over with by next week, or even if it takes another month and a half or 2 months, it's still going to be one of the shorter investigations that have taken place. So there's really no leg to stand on for anybody, whether you're on the right, left, or wherever. If you're going to come out and say, oh, it's been a gigantic waste of money, or you're saying that we could have directed our resources somewhere else, given that all the investigations that have taken place, there's been more indictments and more people charged in this one alone than all the rest of them put together.
Answer me this question. I'll ask this to our listeners. Mm-hmm. If Donald Trump is not afraid of anything, if he absolutely and positively is innocent, then why is he so defensive, and why is it every single day since this thing started He's talking about how much this is a witch hunt. He's attacking Robert Mueller, who to most is very, very respected. He's attacking pretty much everybody that isn't on his side. Why is he so defensive? Answer me that question. And why have so many people around the president of the United States lied about Russia? Because that's what many of them have done. They have lied. Many people have been indicted. Many people have, very close to the president, plea deals. Oh, and it doesn't end there, folks. It doesn't end with the Robert Mueller investigation, okay? The House Oversight Committee says Michael Cohen will now be testifying publicly on February 27th. What happened to the president of the United States saying he only hires, quote, the best people? Many people that were in his cabinet have either pled guilty or are in trouble and lied to the FBI. Why is that? Why is it that this continues to happen? And I can't wait to hear what Michael Cohen has to say on February 27th. Why, it's been continued to be postponed, I don't know. Let's open up the phone lines again on this issue. Apparently, the Robert Mueller report will be coming out hopefully as early as next week. I think we all hope that happens. We're talking about that. Michael Cohen also will be testifying publicly on February 27th. The phone line is 257-5396. Don't be afraid to call in, folks. I promise I'll try to be nice to you. I won't call you names today. 702-257-5396. Let's start off this segment with Brian. Brian, thanks for calling in. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Doing good, Brian. What's on your mind?
Well, if it does come out, I listened to an attorney who was on one of the other counsel in the Whitewater investigation. And what they said was, it was a lady, she said that actually they won't make a lot of it public because if somebody is not indicted on something, you don't want all of these allegations, if there's nothing that's indictable, out about these people, because then you open yourself up for lawsuits and things. So, and also during the hearings, he made it very clear that he will, he will be as fully transparent as he can, but there are certain things that is not to be made public. And that's the way it is with all of these investigations. But I also believe that when they meet with the Senate and the House, the whole thing will be leaked immediately to the media, everything that they get.
Yeah, your initial response there, Brian, is exactly right. And I've actually, along with you, myself, I actually heard some attorneys as well, too, on a couple of networks talk about the people that are involved in this case, or, the people that have been either talked to or in some way, are outliers that they don't want to they don't want to have their information released or anything about what they did in this case released, then it's going to be retracted. So there's going to be some retractions. There's no question. When it comes down to the final, whatever the final documents are that end up getting released, and whatever the final report is, there's going to be there's going to be some stuff taken out. Obviously, the national security stuff, the top, stuff that's considered confidential that they don't want is not going to be released as well too.
Right.
But for the most part, and what I think what Barr was talking about is that about being transparent is that. I think the gist of it, the meat and potatoes of what Bob Mueller's report is that can be released to the public. I think is it's going to be demanded by people on both in the House and in the Senate that to release it. And we all know, obviously, the public too wants to know exactly what goes on.
Brian, let me ask you a question. You seem like a logical guy, so let me ask you what I think is a pretty simple question, right? Why is it so many people around Donald Trump have lied about Russia? Why is it Donald Trump, in some instances in the past, have lied about Russia as well? And then more information comes out, then Trump seems to backtrack. I don't know if he colluded, but it's a very simple question. Why are so many people around him lying, and why has he lied? What's the reasonable explanation for that?
What do you mean lying about Russia?
Well, first Donald Trump.
What you mean?
Well, first Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's a point blank question you're asking him. It's tough for him to answer.
I mean, first Donald Trump said that he had absolutely no business ties to Russia, and then when it turned out that he actually did, then he backtracked and said, well, he did have some business ties to Russia, and there was nothing wrong with that. He kept it quiet. And why is it that so many people and little lies like that, Brian? Little lies when we find out something, and then it's backtracked when it's leaked to the media. Something is found out, and then the people around Donald Trump, Paul Manafort, for example, one of many people around Roger Stone, why is he lying to the FBI? Papadopoulos, why is he lying to the FBI? Why are all these people lying? Why?
Okay, as I've stated before, Paul Manafort did not collude with the Russians. His collusion, supposedly, was with the Ukrainians, which are enemies of the Russians. So that's one out the window. Most of the other people are things that had nothing to do with collusion in order to get Donald Trump elected.
How do you know that?
It was well, you can read the stories. They're all. Read the Papadopoulos story.
But it's still an ongoing. Well, I mean, I think that's one of the things that Robert Mueller has investigated, and I'm very interested, as I'm sure you are as well. What will happen at the end of this investigation? I would like to know the answer to that question. I don't think we have it yet.
Well, you're making an obvious statement, though, Brian. Look, I'm going to stand Brian and both Brians actually. Look, we're all of us right now are trying to read between the lines. We don't know what the Mueller report is going to show, which is why it's always fascinating to me, Brian, that it doesn't matter what media you watch, whether you watch Fox News or MSNBC or CNN or any of the networks, because it's all speculation at this point. All right, Robert Mueller, it's all speculation. So nobody's on the inside looking out and know exactly what the Mueller probe is going to show next week or whenever it comes out. So it's kind of a wait and see thing for us.
I think we can all agree on this. We are all looking forward to, and perhaps including Donald Trump, we're all looking forward to this investigation being over with, and whether there is a there or not, we will find out hopefully next week. And I think that is the important thing. And when this is over with, if Robert Mueller has absolutely zero evidence that there was any collusion between Donald Trump and Russia, then as members of the media, no matter who you are, left or right, we have to go on the air and we have to say, look, the president didn't collude.
But it's not going to be all or nothing, Brian. Okay, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. There's all kinds of in betweens here that can be involved. So it's
absolutely.
Not
doesn't mean
it's not just black and white. It's not that simple. So
I don't disagree.
It's going to. You just brought up all these things about Donald Trump saying, why does he lie about this? Why does he lie about that? Why do people around him lie? Look, it's an obvious answer. The answer is they possibly could have something to hide, right? I don't
think it's possible.
There could be. Yeah,
I don't think it's possible.
They are. Maybe they have. Yes, they have something to hide.
When you go, Chris,
okay?
when you go,
obviously, I'm sounding like a never Trumper here when I'm talking about this. Saying,
that's just logical.
But
when you
it's
go
just
on
logical.
When
yes,
you go on
there's going to be stuff that comes out that's going to be bad for the president of the United States.
When you are on a stage with Vladimir Putin standing right next to you, and you are willing to take his word over our own intelligence, there is a there. There is something there that we are going to learn, at least I hope. The number to call, 257-5396. Again, that number, 257-5396. Let's go to Chris. Chris, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good. What's on your mind, Chris?
Hey, you just sort of showed your bias because you just said you hope they find something.
When did I say that?
You just did.
When did I say that?
Before you introduced me, you just said, "I hope he does find something."
I never said that. No, I didn't say that.
You did. I just heard you.
Okay, let me be clear then, Chris. Let me be clear.
Why would you hope?
Excuse me.
Wrong with the president of the United States? Why would you hope that?
Are you going to let me answer? Thank you.
Yeah, I want to hear some logic.
Thank you. I appreciate that. First of all, clear the wax in your ears, because I never said I hope they find something. Here's what I hope. I hope that this investigation is over with next week. I hope we get an answer. Okay, well, I'm saying it right now, okay?
You're a bozo, buddy.
Call me Bozo the Clown. Did you hang up the phone, Chris? Are you a coward, or are you going to stay on the line? Yeah, you're a coward. That's what I thought.
Did he hang up, really?
Yeah, that's what cowards do. They call into the show. They say something that I didn't say, clearly a lie. He calls up, and then his only way to debate after I answered him in an honest fashion is to call me a bozo. No, sir, I think you're the one that is hanging out at Circus juggling balls for a living. I think you are the bozo in this situation, not me, sir. I'm not working in the circus. You are. You are a coward, and you are a typical moron who calls into the show, who calls me a name, and then hangs up the phone. I did not hang up on you. If you want to have a debate, I'll have a debate with you, Mr. Bozo the Clown, anytime you want, sir. Anytime you want. But first, I want you to get one of those Q-tips that you buy at CVS. I want you to buy some of those, and I want you to clean the wax in your ears, because your ears are looking a little disgusting, because clearly you don't hear what I say. So why don't you listen? For you Trump supporters out there that want to put words in my mouth, just like you want to put words in people on the left, put words in their mouth that just critique the president and don't like the president. I am sick and tired of it. Listen to what somebody says for once. That's a problem with people in this country, like this idiot who just called up. We don't listen to each other. I'm willing to listen to somebody that disagrees with me. One of our callers, Brian, he calls in every show. We disagree, but I'm willing to listen to him. You know why? Because he's respectful, and he's intelligent, and he's logical. We're not going to always agree, but he's a good caller. It's callers like that's why we are so divided in this country. And when Donald Trump said he can shoot somebody on 51st Street and people would still vote for me, he's talking about Bozo the Clown, who just called in. 257-5396, the number to call, 702-257-5396. Mike, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, Mike. What's on your mind?
Good. Listen, no offense, but yeah, you did say what you did say. To the last caller, he heard it clearly. I heard it clearly.
So what exactly did I say?
You said that you hope they find something on Donald Trump, and that you did say it. Believe me, and I'm not trying to give you bad time.
No.
I want to say.
I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are, but I'll say it again just to be clear to the listeners. That guy called me called me a bozo. You are respectful, so I will give you a very honest answer. What I meant to say, if I did say that, was I hope this investigation is over with by next week. That's what I hope. I hope it's done with by next week.
You hope they find something on him.
Well, then I misspoke.
Your sentence, you did say that. And I'm trying to be cordial here. I don't want to get into an argument.
And I'm trying to be cordial with you, and I'm trying to be honest. If you're right and I'm wrong, then I misspoke. Because
it's Mike, right? It's Mike, right?
In a later date, you'll hear what you said.
No, I'm saying it right now. I'm saying it. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. I'm saying it.
Mike, I'm one of the Never Trumpers that's here in the studio, and I'll be absolutely intellectually honest with you. Yes, there are people. There is a lot of people in this nation that want to when next week comes or the week after or whenever the Mueller probe is finished up and the report is released and the American people can see what it is. These people, yes, if Donald Trump did something wrong, if Donald Trump in any way was colluding with Russia or is in some way in the back pocket of Vladimir Putin or some way has financial issues with Russia, then yes, there are a lot of people that want Donald Trump to get taken down. They want Donald Trump to have to resign. They want Donald Trump to have to be impeached. There's a lot of people that believe that.
If he did something wrong and he broke the law, yes. I absolutely hope they find it. I hope they find something. Let me be clear there. By the way, if you do a 2-hour show, if you are on the air 10 hours a day, sometimes you're going to say things that maybe you didn't mean to say. That does happen from time to time, okay? I hope that this investigation is over with next week. If he did something wrong, I hope they find it, period. Let's go to Paul. Paul, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing good, Paul. What's on your mind?
I don't listen a whole lot. I listen to you guys maybe once every week or two, and I can't figure you guys out because I think you're about where I'm at. I'm about a 60% agree with Trump and 40% you wonder what the heck's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this. Are you going to be upset or are you bothered by the McCabe and Orr and all the for lack of another term, deep state thing? Are you bothered by what they did in getting this whole Russian thing even started?
It's a good question. Let me give you an honest answer. It depends what they find. Okay, if the Robert Mueller investigation finds
they started out eavesdropping on somebody that is protected by the Constitution and shouldn't even been done.
It's not. See, you're way simplifying it, way oversimplifying it, and you're trying to pinpoint.
Okay.
You're trying to pinpoint it. It's not. It was not Andrew McCabe. It was not Bruce Orr that started this from day one. This has been something that was absolutely rationally and rightfully started in regards to the pot. Look, you can use all the analogies you want. Where there's smoke, there's fire. You want to see all the cards on the table. Use whatever analogy you want to use. Okay, this isn't about. Look. The people that work in the majority of people that work in law enforcement, okay, they are apolitical. They do their job on a daily basis, and they are not influenced by their political beliefs or political options. Whether or not they're a Republican or Democrat, people work side by side in law enforcement, okay? So this whole stuff about Bruce Orr and look, and there's no question, McCabe absolutely made mistakes when it came to the IG and not being truthful to the IG. But I don't want to hear this crap about how law enforcement should be underwater and how they need to be taking all kinds of abuse because it's garbage. The FBI, for the most part, does a tremendous job. And the Justice Department overall is not overly political, but because we're in the Trump era now, everybody wants to make it about Republican.
It's funny
and Democrat.
how a lot of people on the right want to say that people in the FBI are dirty, but when it comes to officer-involved shootings, they want to defend every officer.
It's funny, isn't it? It's funny. They want to say they want people on the right or in the GOP want to say that the FBI is skewed when it comes to Donald Trump or any Republican or you name the person on the right, but when it comes to Hillary Clinton, right, or Barack Obama or anybody, as far as Democrats, then the law enforcement they're straight away, square all the way. They know exactly what's going on.
Let's take one more call. Let's try to squeeze in one more before we go to break. Let's go to Gary. Gary, thanks for calling in. How are you, Gary? Gary, are you there? Gary, I can't hear you.
Barely hear you.
It sounds like you're speaking. There you go. I can hear you now. Go ahead, Gary. I got about 30 seconds. Gary, there's something wrong with your phone.
Yeah, his phone's messed up.
I think Gary decided to call in on an Obama phone today. I'm not so sure. But, Gary, I apologize for that. I know you were waiting on hold. Unfortunately, we got to go to break. So we got a break coming up. We will always continue this discussion. And, again, let me be clear once again. You're on the air 2 hours a day. Sometimes you're going to mix up your words. You're going to fiddle your words. I don't hope they find something on Donald Trump. I hope if they do find something, I hope that, it's legitimate. And if he did break the law, I hope they find that. Because I do believe that there is some stuff out there that he did. And I hope they get down to the truth. If they don't find anything, then that's fine too. That's fine too. Okay? Very clear. And people want to nitpick, and that's fine. They could nitpick all they want to, but it's funny, they'll nitpick somebody like me. But when Donald Trump lies on a regular basis and he insults people on a regular basis, you'll never hear those type of people complain about that. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, new information on the possible hiring of Rick Pitino at UNLV. We'll get to that with Jameson Wells from Drive Time Sports when we come back. This is the Vegas Take.